what I find really interesting and what intrigued me is that in the beginning of your language journey, you used the comprehensible input method and then you took the plunge, so to speak. Then you immersed yourself in Argentina. So the approach changed a lot in the sense that it has become more practical, I guess. So it will be really interesting to see, to compare both approaches and methods, and we can learn from your experience in Argentina.
I would like to
Yeah,
say I
of
I
course.
found the comprehensible input method after 1 year. So after 1 or 2 years of studying Spanish, I took a gap year after my high school where I studied Spanish, and I went to Madrid to follow a traditional language school method, which I did for 3 months, which got me to like the upper A2 level, which is not much, and I'm sure I could have achieved it on my own faster or whatever. But anyways, it was a good experience. And then from A2, I kind of stagnated for about a year. Like I improved a little bit, but then after the year, I found the comprehensible input method, which is when I feel like I really, really started like practicing Spanish every day and consistently incorporating it into my schedule. And then now, yeah, now I'm doing more of the immersive method, but obviously the immersive method, a large part of that is comprehensible input.
Still, even though you are in Argentina, like
Well,
living there.
yeah, but what I mean with comprehensible input is like having conversations at your level. So even if I just talk to someone in Spanish,
Hmm.
for me that's comprehensible input. Maybe I don't understand the term correctly, but for me comprehensible input is any conversation, or specifically it's focused on listening. So any listening you can do comfortably that may be above your skill level a little bit, but enough you have enough competence to follow the conversation.
Yeah, I see.
So what I understand from the goal of comprehensible inputs is to listen to Spanish that you understand like 80 to 90% of it, because then you'll slowly get better. But yeah.
The very first question I want to ask you is, what does come to mind when I say Argentina?
Ooh. Well, right now, the first thing was like it's just my life now. I've been here for it's my third month, and I've adapted fast, and I'm only gonna stay for 6 months. But for me, I just have it's the same as if I'm studying in Amsterdam, where I usually study. I feel comfortable, and I feel like I have my routine and my friends, and my life for 6 months is here. So the first thing that comes to mind is just like that's just right now. That's my life, Argentina. Yeah.
Yeah, that is nice. And yeah, so can you please share a little bit about your background and interest in language learning?
Yeah, I mean it's weird because I really didn't like languages until after high school because I'm from Belgium, and so at home we speak Dutch or Flemish, and then also Belgians they kind of have to learn French. It's kind of like French and English is kind of a standard thing to learn in school. But because I lived abroad, so I lived in Germany and Singapore growing up, I didn't really have this like French need the same way normal Belgians do. But still, my parents wanted me to learn French. And I remember from like, I don't remember the ages exactly, but between like 10 and 12 or 10 to 13, I was taking French in school and also like at home, like with my dad, like with Rosetta Stones. And I hated French. Like, it was
Mm.
like, I really didn't like it at all. I didn't like learning the language. I didn't like just practicing the language. And the main reason I know now is because I didn't see the reason. It didn't make sense to me. And then, so then after 13, I finally convinced my dad, which now maybe I regret because I wish I spoke French, but I convinced my dad that I will just take German in school. Because German is so close to Dutch, it was so easy in a way to learn and
Okay.
advance. So then in high school, from 13 to 17, I studied German. And yeah, it helped that I lived in Germany, but I went to an international school, so my German never went to like the not fluent, but never went super high. Like I can understand German pretty much everything, but speaking is like rusty. But yeah, so I didn't ever really like languages except Spanish. When I was like 14, I remember I went to summer camp where I made a lot of Spanish friends, like from Spain and from Venezuela and Mexico. And I was kind of in their group, but didn't understand everything or anything, actually, anything.
Hmm.
And I remember returning home and I was like telling my mom that I wanted to study Spanish and all these things. But actually, I never did anything about it until I finished high school. It was always just like, yeah, I like Spanish, and it kept like not all my friends, but like a few of my friends were always Spanish somehow by luck or whatever. So it never escaped me. So then when I decided to take a gap year, I decided to make that a bit my focus of the gap year. Obviously, take time to reflect and take time to think about what I want to study, and also just take a year off, but also with the goal of finally dedicating some time to Spanish. And then
I see, I see.
I really started enjoying language learning. And now right now I'm just focusing on Spanish, but I can see myself in the future focusing on other languages again because I really do enjoy the process a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting how something can change so drastically from not liking it or almost hating it
I
to
definitely hate it.
loving it so much. It's really
Yeah.
inspiring how, yeah, how life can change. And so that means that now, right now, you are in Argentina.
I'm doing a exchange semester. So I am in my third year of university, and part of my curriculum is that I have to go on exchange for 6 months. So I study in Amsterdam, and now I'm here in Argentina from August to December, where I'm just
Yeah,
following classes at university, like normal class. I mean, right now I have like a culture of Argentina Spanish class, and I have a computational thinking class. But it's just normal, like the computational thinking class is in Spanish, but it's just like a normal programming class that anyone would follow.
I see. And so you came around, yeah, pretty much. You were in many countries. You were in Germany, in Singapore. And do you think that helped you now in the process of learning Spanish as well?
Um, Maybe not directly, as in those countries they don't speak Spanish, but I think definitely growing up in Singapore, especially, I lived there for 6 years. Singapore is like a hub of international immigrants of different cultures. It's everyone there is not from there almost. So maybe their parents like they were born there and everything, but originally they're from somewhere else. They're from China, they're from Europe, they're from Malaysia. So it's just a hub of a lot of cultures. So this made me really interested in cultures and other people, and I
Hmm.
know for myself right now I really like environments where there's not a majority group or there's not a majority that everyone's a bit different, and this made me
Hmm.
really interested in cultures, and then it also made me really interested in later on, I guess I applied that to get really interested in the Spanish culture and Spanish people, which is 100% the reason why I'm studying Spanish. It's because I love the people of that I meet, and I love I love the culture as well.
And what about Argentina? Why specifically Argentina? Was this a conscious decision to go there?
Yeah, but also it wasn't like that. Like I don't remember a clear decision, but I remember I knew I was going on exchange, so I knew for sure I wanted to go to a Spanish speaking country because I wanted to take the opportunity to advance in Spanish. And I didn't want to go to Spain because I'd been in Madrid, and also I'm not the biggest fan of the Spanish accent from Spain, but that's another topic. And then so I thought of South America was the only like logical other option, and then it was between Argentina and Mexico and Colombia. And I mean, I would have been happy at either place, and I probably would have said at either place that when I went there, it would have been like the best place. But I'm really happy I ended up in Argentina. But it wasn't like a clear. I think the World Cup maybe helped a little bit, like some propaganda, some Argentinian propaganda looked nice, and then it just worked out. They also didn't require a B2 Spanish certificate, which was really nice. The other universities did, and I don't think I can get that. Or I definitely couldn't get that 6 months ago.
I see.
So it just fell into me. I didn't think about it too much.
And maybe let's go back again about the comprehensible input method, because I think your very first video about your language journey was about 8 months ago. And the
Yeah,
title was Join Me on My Journey to Become Fluent in Spanish.
yeah.
And I think there you mentioned Dream in Spanish. It's a YouTube channel with a guy named Pablo.
Pablo.
Um, Pablo, I don't know. Pablo, let me
I don't know his
see.
last name either. I don't know if he released it.
Yeah, I never can remember his last name. And it's really interesting because I had a conversation, yeah, a couple of days ago with India from Ireland, and she also mentioned this guy, Pablo. And somehow in her language journey, he had a massive impact on her journey, and it's quite inspiring how people can influence in a very positive sense other people, so that they get inspired and they begin to learn maybe in a different way, and how they find like the love of learning languages. And it struck me because, yeah, within a couple of days, two different persons are telling me a similar story. But maybe you can tell a little bit more about dreaming
Oh yeah,
Spanish
like
or dream in
no, I think
Spanish.
I would agree with India. Like it really changed like the way I studied Spanish, and it even changed my like. I was kind of in this like hole of learning Spanish. I was at this level where I wasn't a beginner, but I wasn't good or intermediate at all. I would speak to some
You
Spanish people a few times for like
you
four or
hit the
five minutes.
intermediate plateau, right?
Yeah, but even like before, I think it was even before. It was like it was just like I wasn't studying Spanish too much. I was stuck. So, and that's because I didn't enjoy it as much, the learning process. I got to a point where I was like, okay, I can't really just study words anymore. I have to like figure out how I'm gonna get better at this language. So I was watching these videos. I would say this was about a year ago, and I was watching, trying to find like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to learn Spanish, and I didn't have like a method. So I just like went on YouTube. I watched like some grammar videos. I watched some other videos. I don't really remember, and I found a bunch of channels that wow, it was always like it never really got me going. And then I found Dreaming Spanish, and he explained the method, and I just like I was like, yeah, this sounds great. It's just like you watch videos. I don't have to study. I hated grammar. I was like, okay, this guy's telling me don't study grammar. He's telling me watch videos. I love watching videos. So he was just telling me everything I wanted to hear
Hmm.
about studying a language. So I just like I just bought into it, and then I watched like he made a lot of videos like a long time ago. Now the channel's different, but he used to make like the videos just him, and I just binged his videos, and it's so good because all his videos are in Spanish. So he would explain the method and everything in Spanish, but very slowly. And perhaps it's a good idea to explain what comprehensible input is.
Yeah.
Uh, Comprehensible input is a language learning method where you only listen to audio and videos. It's kind of based on how like a child would learn a language. So 4 or 5 year old or 6 year old is not learning a language by studying grammar or by reading textbooks. She or he is just listening to their parents, listening to their surroundings, understanding not everything, but understanding enough, taking in, and slowly taking in enough things to start speaking and stuff like that. So it's really based on listening, the language method, and watching videos. And it was perfect for me because I was like, I hate studying grammar, and this is a way where I can feel like I'm being productive for 20 to 30 minutes of my day And then really, I'm just watching videos. And he explained the method so well. He did a really good job at like, I mean, convincing me that this is the way to do it. And I
Mhm.
guess, yeah, I'm really happy I fell into his trap in a way.
Yeah,
No
and
grammar, no grammar. I never did grammar. To this
and
day, you don't.
you explained it in your video, and of course, only the first like 5 or 10 seconds were in English, and then you switched in Spanish, and from then on, I think your YouTube channel became only in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell a little bit more about your channel,
Yeah,
what
so
it's all about.
I actually I started it in February because I knew this year was gonna be like my year for Spanish because I basically started it because in I knew I was going on exchange for 6 months, and to go on exchange for 6 months, I wanted to take Spanish extremely seriously for 6 months. So I knew I was gonna progress like a ton this year because I want to track my Spanish level and track my ability to like explain myself in a language. But also because I realized I actually do enjoy making videos. I think it's something which I like a lot, being able to express myself and being able to like formulate a message or a story into like an 8 minute video. I really like that. Um, so the channel is mostly for myself, but also I want to start, which is why I reached out to you. I want to start getting more into the space of talking to other language learners and starting to like expand a little. So right now, as of the last 8 months, it's really been focused on Spanish learning, the channel. But soon I am comfortable with my Spanish enough where I want to start making videos that aren't related to Spanish learning. I've
But
not
in
started that yet.
Spanish.
In Spanish,
Yeah.
everything will stay in Spanish because it's really just like a way for me to practice Spanish more. So I made a video about me going to like the Messi. I went to go watch Messi in or Argentina. I'm saying Messi, but
Increíble. Puedo ver a Messi en vivo este frente, porque no es como en tele cuando seguía un partido. En la cancha puedo seguir a Messi todo el tiempo. Mira a Messi, el gente de Argentina grabando a Messi como todo lo que hace, solo Messi. Fue un momento cuando fue Messi. Fue como un dios. En serio.
2 months ago, and that's like the first video I made about something that wasn't related to me learning Spanish. And I really liked that video. I think it's really nice. And I want to make more of those types of videos where I just explain my experiences without focusing on the language. Because that's also what Dreaming Spanish does very well. Like a lot of the videos are not based on learning language. It's just videos
Mhm.
that you would watch anyways. Like it would be a video of him explaining his day-to-day life, or it would be a video of him explaining culture in Japan. So I want to get into that a little bit, like just making videos I want to make. But right now I also really feel like making videos about Spanish learning because it's just I'm in the whole process and I like sharing that as well.
And is there anyone who inspired you maybe to record yourself and make like a type of diary of your language journey?
I don't remember where the idea came from exactly, but I remember looking when I had the idea, I was trying to look if someone did it, and I found this like I think it's called Gringo to Latino, but he stopped making videos. But I found this channel that kind of did it, but actually he was also recording a lot in English, so he wasn't really doing it that much. I don't know where the idea came from.
Daniel, I actually remember now when you asked me where the idea came from to track myself, and I just figured it out. It's from, I think, 2 years ago. I really wanted to grow out my hair, and I always had short hair, and I wanted to get really long hair. And actually, in the channel, one of my second or third video is literally just me growing my hair for 1 year or 2 years. So that's when I really that's probably where I got the link. Damn, I really like tracking the progress. Something so small and stupid of throwing out my hair from a buzz cut to like a mad bun. But that's to answer your question. Yeah, I forgot. I just made the link. I was like, oh, that's where it comes from. Because I was thinking, like, where did this come from? This idea of tracking myself. I couldn't think of that. So yes, hope that is of interest.
And do you
Um,
still watch other channels that cover the same topic, like showing the language learning progress and stuff?
in reality, not too much, because I actually never really watched them that much because of the Dreaming Spanish. It wasn't really focused on the language learning. It was just focused on comprehensible
Yeah.
input. So I never really got into it that much. But now I'm getting into it a bit more because I'm interested to see other people. For example, that's how I found you, and that's how I found Charlie. So actually, yeah, Charlie kind of is doing this, and he did this long before me. But Charlie is a friend of yours, I guess, and
Yeah.
he started his channel 3 years ago, where he's kind of doing exactly what I said as well. Like he started as an intermediate or beginner, and now he is intermediate, and he'll keep going until he's not.
Exactly.
He's fluent, I guess. And actually, I saw one of his videos where he was explaining that eventually he wants to be good enough at Spanish where he can make a food videos in around his area. I think it was in your podcast that he said that. So he wants to
Exactly.
do
It's
like
his passion.
uh,
Yeah.
he wants to show the restaurants in his area, and it's actually the same. Like right now, I'm working on myself and working on my Spanish to get it to a level good enough where I can do these types of videos as well. Like make the videos I want to make and not only make the videos based on Spanish. The same way, like right now, Charlie's videos are all
Yeah.
based on learning Spanish. But eventually, I want to get out of that, and I want my Spanish level to be good enough where I can feel comfortable getting out of that.
Yeah, Charlie and me, we have a project now, some movie club kind of, and we are watching the movie Diarios de Motocicleta. You know,
Yeah, it is. Okay.
it's Che Guevara when he was younger, and he's traveling through South America, and we are watching it on our own, and in a couple of weeks we are gonna discuss it in his channel. So yeah, just a little side note here.
I think
If
that's super
you
cool.
if you are up to this also in the future to watch another movie or so, you can just check on me and we can arrange something.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. And so now let's go back to Argentina. I am really curious what happened in the very beginning when you moved to Argentina for your exchange year.
Yeah.
So how was your first impression, or can you explain it a little bit?
Yeah, I arrived to Argentina and I was one day late because I had a whole airplane fiasco, which made me in the airport for like 48 hours, but that's a whole other story. But I arrived to Argentina just like late to school, so I was thrown into the mix, 100%. Not only because I was staying in a student residence where I was thrown into a room with three Argentinians, so it's just like directly in the middle. And then also I was thrown into mix because I arrived late, so I didn't know anything that was going on. So I had to receive all the introduction days and all the orientation meetings with a one-on-one meeting with two ladies that work here. And I just started right away. I went to class the first day I was here, and
And
I think the
and
best way to describe it is that
where are you
I was
where
thrown
are you
into it.
located? Sorry. Where
I'm in
are you
San
located?
Fernando. It's Zona Norte, and it's in a bit outside the city. It's not considered the capital, because our university is also a bit outside the city. So I'm located in a student residence. So 70 students live here from the university, and 65 of them are Argentinian, which is definitely the biggest reason I got really good at Spanish over these last 3 months, or really good at speaking Spanish, is because I was thrown into the I was thrown into the pool. Like I couldn't.
Hmm.
There was no way I could get around not speaking Spanish. It was just like between 5 and 10 hours a day, I'm talking to people, and this is in Spanish, and it was a lot. The first few days, it was a lot. Like the first week, it was. I made a video about it, but it was very much like exhausting. It was Because it was really being around, first of all, being around maybe like 70 to 100 new people, which is already can be exhausting. But then
Yeah.
also being in a new, completely in a different language that actually I realized I wasn't that good at when I got here. Um,
Tell us more about that because you made one video called "How I Will Lose My Gringo Accent,"
yeah.
actually. And so, what happened when you heard the Argentinian accent, maybe for the
Yeah.
first time in real life? So, was it
So
difficult to adapt or
it,
to understand?
it was difficult to adapt, but also the words that they use is very different. And in the first week or the first 2 weeks, it was definitely like an added challenge. So it kept adding these challenges. So it was like all these challenges. But I remember here they say de donde sos if you're asking where you're from, which is different. A different way of asking it. In Spain and every other country, they don't ask it like that. So I couldn't, like, someone asked me, ¿De dónde sos? And I was like,
Hmm.
I couldn't even answer. I was like, what is he saying? And it's such a basic question. It's like, where are you from? And I couldn't even answer such a basic question. I felt like such an idiot. And it was just like, this first week, it was really a lot. Like, it was like, but it was also
And
so good because in the first week, maybe I got like 50 to 70 hours of exposure time, or maybe 40 to 70 hours of exposure, which was enough to adapt to the accent, get a bit more comfortable in the speaking, and like set me up to like keep going. But it was nice that I got all that exposure time in 1 week because I know that if I didn't live in the residence, it maybe would have taken 1 month. If I didn't live in the residence and I only spoke to
mhm.
Argentinians at school or maybe in the shop a little bit, man, it would have taken, yeah, maybe a month to get this. But because I lived in the residence, I didn't have a choice. Like, and I had three roommates, and I was just always like trying to join the conversation and trying to understand what I could. But it made it really nice because it made it like a 1 week, like it was like tough, tough, tough. But then after that, I felt more comfortable. So I felt comfortable quickly.
So
I would say.
were you aware of the huge differences in the Argentinian Spanish variation, like for example, the voz or the words that are pronounced differently, like playa,
Yeah,
silla, yo me llamo.
yeah.
Were you aware of that before, and
I mean,
do you like
I
it?
was I was aware of it. Like people told me about it, but like I never really I never looked into it too much. Like I didn't really care too much. I heard it was a really nice accent. Like a lot of people told me that. Like it was a very cool, different accent. So that they warned me. They warned me.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care. I didn't really care. And actually, maybe that was one of, I could say, a mistake. I did a lot of comprehensible input, but a lot
Mhm.
of this comprehensible input was from Dreaming Spanish and from Luisito, it's a Mexican YouTuber, and from Spain. But I wasn't consuming any content or not too much content from Argentinians, which would have helped a ton.
Yeah. And
So I
has
know
that
I
changed?
was,
Do you
yeah.
consume Argentinian videos now or movies?
I will say before coming here, like 2 3 months, I was watching Davo. It's like a YouTuber from Argentina, and he's really good. Like he makes videos I'm interested in, like just about football. But he has a really Argentinian like slang and pronunciation and everything. So he's the guy I watch. And for the rest, I'm not watching too much YouTube or movies anymore, to be honest. Because I can get the language exposure from, yeah, real life from people. Because to be honest, I was this year, like for example, from January to June or to August, I was watching a lot of YouTube, but it was like 1 hour a day roughly, but really just in Spanish. Like I don't really consume YouTube too much for my own personal like chill time. Um, so it was really just to like advance in Spanish and get comfortable with the language. And now I feel like um, I can get that through speaking to people, which I much prefer. Like I remember in May or June, I had a moment where I was just done with all these videos. Like I was watching 1 hour of YouTube each day. It was like I wanted to start speaking. I wanted to like switch it up. Like the comprehensible method got boring for me. And I made a. I remember I asked people for other like advice, and they just said yeah. Like one guy told me to go to like a I went to like a Spanish church in Amsterdam, just to like switch it up, and then I was I didn't like it too much. It was not the best like input. Like it was just like a guy on a microphone with like bad quality. Like it's not. I wouldn't recommend it. But I wanted to find ways to switch it up because I got really bored of the comprehensible input method actually. And for example, in July and like July, I didn't do Spanish. Like I didn't watch any videos. Like I just took a break. I was working and I just took a break. So yeah, here I have a way to learn the language again, which is really cool.
And in Argentina, when you made more videos, I think you mentioned something that you began noticing the mistakes that you are making.
Yeah. So yeah, in the first month of Argentina, my Spanish went like, especially Spanish speaking, it went boom, like it went like insanely quickly. Like arriving here, I also have a few friends who I talk to sometimes. Like I'll tell like, oh my god, I was so shit. I can't imagine how like bad I was at Spanish. Like it's actually like when I arrived, and then now I feel so much more. And I know in 4 months or 2 months or 3 months, I'm gonna think the same of myself now than back then, which is also the reason I like making the videos because I remind myself how much I'm improving. But basically, the first month it went like this, and then the second month I got to this like this intermediate. What did you say last time? This intermediate plateau.
Intermediate plateau, yes, exactly.
Yeah, I felt like I got to this intermediate plateau, and my Spanish was still like yeah improving, but it was much more like this, and like this it was like it was just like it was very confronting suddenly because I got over this whole like being in Argentina, everything's new, everything's so exciting, every conversation is so rewarding because I feel like I'm getting better at Spanish every day, and now it's very much the results are far less obvious and direct. So so this second month, I had a few moments where I was just like, ugh, like I I'm pronouncing all this stuff bad. Like now I know that I'm pronouncing it bad. Now I know I'm conjugating verbs bad. And before I was just ignorant. I was just living in ignorance is bliss. I was just saying stuff, and I was like probably just like not even worrying about it being bad. You know, I would just be like just saying stuff, and then the second month it was very much like okay, you're making all these mistakes, man, and also people started like saying it more. Also like because which is like they wouldn't say this to you if you weren't at the level because they don't want to overreach. So it's also like in a sense, some compliment of someone making fun of you for saying something bad is a sense and a compliment that you're good enough for them to make fun of you. You know, you're not because if you were not good enough for them to make fun of you, they would just be like really proud of you for trying.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really weird, but it at some point it kind of like I reached like a valley where it was just like like pronouncing stuff bad, grammar is bad, and I kind of got out of it because I realized I also started like focusing more on grammar, but not with studying, more just like I don't know if you just like it's this whole comprehensible input method you have to understand. Like he says that like and you notice it when you learn a language as a kid, like you just start realizing that you're saying you fix yourself, like slowly and slowly your grammar is getting better. Like now slowly and slowly I can use past and present tense better and future. And before it was just all jumble. And just like the second month, it was just like figuring that out. It was just like exposing my limitations, but also setting my brain up to like keep reminding myself of like thinking of conjugating verbs and thinking of stuff that I'm doing wrong to give me the chance to do it better. So I saw the positive side at the end. But I definitely had 1 or 2 weeks where I was just like a lot more self-conscious suddenly in the language, which was weird because I was better than I ever was at the language, but I was more self-conscious than I ever was at the language.
Hmm.
So, nah, I think I actually really liked that video. I actually think, and it was hard to explain because I used like this 4 stages of learning, and I explained it all in Spanish. But I don't know. I think I explained it quite well.
And I also noticed in these videos that you would also put your own corrections sometimes. So like corrections
Yeah.
in written words. So can you tell us a little bit about what you made afterwards? So you analyzed your own videos and you spotted the mistakes. And did the people who commented on the videos, did they help you also in the process?
The first question is like while editing, I notice it sometimes, and actually I want to do a better job and maybe take it more as like a more of a task to like find all my mistakes. Because right now I'm very casual. Like if I see a mistake, I'll just edit it. But maybe I think in the future, I think I want to start doing it that I edit my video like completely, and then after editing it, I maybe like really focus. Okay, 30 minutes. I'm gonna try to find all the mistakes because I think that's a really good exercise. And I include it in the video, yeah, for myself to like highlight that I made a mistake, but also because like to help communicate because sometimes, yeah, it's hard to follow my videos because it's a guy who doesn't know how to speak the language that well, trying to express his views. So sometimes I also add some English subtitles to help make my point. But I want to maybe do it more because I think it's a good task. And yeah, it's a good task to do. And then the second part of your question was if the YouTube comments. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
This last video, I said el idioma, and while editing it, I thought it was a mistake. I didn't even look it up. I thought because it ended in an a, it should be la idioma. So I edited it, corrected it, and I put like a subtitle saying la idioma, and actually this guy commented saying it's el idioma. So I was like, oh, of course. So I should do a better job. I should do a bit of better job at correcting myself. But actually with YouTube, I'm not getting the comments. I also like one of the reasons I put my stuff on YouTube besides the whole tracking progress thing for myself is because I really like feedback and inputs from other people who are better than me or worse than me, and just like feedback from the videos. I really like that. And on YouTube, I'm not really getting that, but it's fine because I also put my videos on Reddit. Like there's a subreddit for Dreaming Spanish, and I put my videos on there where I get like a lot of feedback.
Oh, cool.
Like a lot more. Like people, I really like Reddit for that reason. I don't use it outside of Spanish, but people are really engaged, and people are really making the effort to help each other. It really feels like a community, and I love putting I'll make a video. I'll write a little blog post in English, and I will put it on Reddit with the English like little summary with the video at the bottom, and it's a cool way for me to get more feedback because sometimes I will check it and someone will have sent maybe a 500-word paragraph saying like, oh, this little pronunciation could be better, stuff like this. So it's a really nice community on Reddit.
And can you share the link with us maybe? Then I can put it in the show notes afterwards.
Yeah, so yeah. I can do it after. But there's two subreddits I like. It's Spanish, but the best one I like is Dreaming Spanish. I'll send it to you after.
And how many dollars do you receive from people? Because I think you have mentioned something like every time that you pronounce the H, then you you would, of course, you would send money to the one that spotted it.
Yeah, like that's the thing. In my second month, it was so funny. I found out that you don't pronounce the H in Spanish. Like last month, like I didn't even know. So I kept saying like I was like, what? How do I never know this? But it's such a typical comprehensible input moment. But so then last month, I really focused on not pronouncing the H. It was one of my things that like I focused on. I don't focus on a lot of things in Spanish, like getting better, because I feel like I can, with the method, I can get better naturally. But not pronouncing the H was like a big goal, and that's what you also asked me to bring my notebook for. So I wrote down a bunch of sentences with words that start in H, and then every day for like 2-3 minutes, I would just read the sentences and make sure I'm not pronouncing the H. And I think finally,
Awesome.
finally, I'm not pronouncing the H when I'm speaking Spanish. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll just put like on this video, like, if you catch me saying the H, I'll send you €1. But more just to like tell people they're not gonna catch me pronouncing a H, you know. Because I told my friend here, like I have an English friend who's from Peru as well, and he told me this. So I told him like, if you catch me pronouncing a H, I'll buy you an empanada. So I thought,
cool.
why not just the same reward system to the people who watch my videos. And I think I'll do it with more stuff soon. Like, I think it's a good way, like, because I want to be more strict on myself in certain ways and make less mistakes like this, which are easy to avoid and easy to learn, but you got to know them. Like, I didn't know about this H thing. Yeah. But then when I knew it, I was like, okay, it's going to be easy to fix. Let me do it. Let me make sure I do it.
That is
so then
cool.
I just added it in the video, like, but yeah, it's forever. So if you ever catch me saying a H in Spanish at the start, you can send me your PayPal email or whatever.
And
like,
what else do you put in your notebook?
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
can you show it?
I'm showing this notebook, but a lot of my notes are actually on the Notes app on my computer. But at the start, I used my notebook a lot for just words. You can't see it. Maybe later I'll send some pictures. But just words. Because every day I was learning new words, so I was just making sure I write them down. But I actually convert all these words and I put them onto Quizlet, which I check once in a while. So on Quizlet, I have like a bunch of lists of just words I just like. Because words are another one of those things. It's like, it's so easy to learn. You literally just have to like, it's a bit of repetition. So just do it. Like at this point, I really don't like when there's a word that I don't know. It's fine. I write it down. But next week, I should know that word. You know, like it shouldn't be, because it would take 5 repetitions on Quizlet for me to learn the word. So just do it. Like, you know. So, and then also a bit of grammar is in here. But then on the Notes app, it's for the H thing, I really wrote out some sentences. Como like, hola, hermana, hoy, voy, blah, 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 blah. Just to like iterate and exaggerate me not pronouncing the H.
What about your favorite words or phrases or expressions? Do you write them down? Oh, yes, or maybe not from Argentina.
Yeah, right now I'm not too exposed to other slangs from other places, which I hope one day I will be. But yeah, I will write down, because Argentinians have a bunch of phrases and words that like you don't know if you don't be here. You know, like you have to really be exposed to it. So then I'll write it down as well. And I'll learn them as well, because I think I like them, and yeah, you gotta know them to understand people here.
Because in one of your videos, you explain it very well in Spanish that one day you will feel like very happy, even though you will be maybe in an annoying situation, but you will be expressing yourself perfectly. So I have interpreted this. Like then you will be maybe swearing or being angry, but you are smiling because you are so good in what you are saying. I don't know if I made myself clear what I wanted to say.
No, I think yeah. I talked about this in the video because in my 2-month Spanish update video, I said that yeah, I feel super comfortable with myself in Spanish. I can almost always express what I want to express. For me, that's like language learning. It's being able to express what you want to express. That's the end goal. Like all these words like fluent, B2, B4, whatever, A6, whatever. At the end of the day, my goal is to express what I want to express. And I had a moment last month where I was really angry with some guy who I was playing football against, and I couldn't express myself.
Hmm.
And I actually was shouting at this guy in English. And who knows how much he got. But I had this other guy who translated, like, it was just more just ranting in English. I couldn't do it in Spanish because it was really like a rant, like, oh, like, I can't, like, so I was properly angry. And afterwards, I reflected and I was like, wow, like, that's the first time I had to one of the first times where I really had to resort to English to express myself. So I thought, for sure, like, in the future, when I'm really angry at someone in Spanish, who knows what, I'm gonna have this moment of like a little smile where, like, oh wow, that was cool that I expressed myself.
Pero es bueno, porque un día voy a ser como muy enojado en español, probablemente, y voy a decir todos en español y voy a expresionarme correcto y voy a ser enojado, pero voy a tener un momento, yo sé que va a ser un momento después de ser enojado donde tengo una sonrisa pequeña porque voy a hacer que ahora puedo expresionarme completo.
And it came from the first video actually I made here in Argentina that I have this perspective. Because when I arrived in Argentina, it was very obvious that my Spanish was low level. And it was easy to be down on myself, but I also really saw the upside, the future seemed really nice, and it seemed really like promising, and it seemed really cool that in the future I would be able to say stuff that now I can't be able to say. And it's really easy to forget when you learn a language, like how shit you were 1 month ago or 2 months ago. But I think it's like you have to make an effort to do this, and maybe recording yourself would be like that. That's a good way to do it. But in the beginning, I said to myself, "Man, I can't wait until I can just like talk about like, wow, the most simple stuff, like a school or whatever with like people." And right now, like even now, like I don't really appreciate it how much I can talk because you don't do it when you get better at stuff because you keep comparing yourself to like people better than you, and you forget how much you progressed.
Yeah,
So I really, really like that. I am trying to remember that, and I think it goes far more than just Spanish. I think it's important in life to remember that it's like it's you versus you. It's not you don't chill with comparing yourself too much to other people. When I first arrived here, I had two friends from two people I knew. They weren't exactly friends from the same university, so I met up with them. And man, their Spanish was like really, really much better than mine. At the first days, like I always compared myself to that, and it's not good. Don't do that. And so I really had to make sure that I'm really just like I'm here for myself. I'm here to practice my Spanish. I'm not here to.
yeah.
If I knew Spanish perfectly, I wouldn't be here. Almost like I'm here to get better, and I think I think the videos helped me with that, which is why I like doing them. But also, it's like you have to remind yourself as well because it's easy to forget.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. It's really something we need to be aware of and remind ourselves what you just said, because it's unhealthy to compare ourselves with others, because there will always be another person who is better, and it's no good. And maybe so. Do you have any recommendations? Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. I want to. I don't know how much time we have left, but I mean, I'm sure it was like that for you. I want to like. I saw your channel was like your first video was 7 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was actually an audio only podcast in the beginning.
Yeah.
So the YouTube channel is just a side project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's amazing, yeah.
For like yourself or side project for the podcast?
Side project for the podcast, because
Okay.
it has always been the flagship, like the audio only version. But
Oh, really?
now it changed a little bit because I am having so much fun in editing and stuff, and it's more rewarding in a way because you get more feedback from from the viewers. And yeah, it's great. You have to see the big picture, because I remember when I published my very first episode, there was maybe 3-4 listens, right? And then after half a year, maybe 20 listens per episode. And now the numbers have exploded in a way. So it's really, yeah, it's crazy when you see the big picture. And
Yeah.
yeah, but when you
No,
are
that's cool.
in the moment, you just see the moment. You don't see the big picture, right? And it's no good.
Yeah, that's funny. You explain the same thing with a different example. So you're explaining
Yeah.
how your growth of your channel or growth of your podcast. Now you can compare your podcast to your other podcast. But if you just look at 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
3 people were listening, and now
Yes.
I have this cool
Yes.
community, and I have this cool project I do for myself mostly. Like, you cannot not be happy. You cannot not be rewarded. But I think it's really cool. And I really like how Spanish teaches me a lot about other parts of life. If
Yeah.
I have to do that for myself, but I can relate to a lot of the stuff I do in Spanish to other parts of my life, which is just what you said. It's really cool that I really like your side project, and I want to do something similar. I want to get
Yeah.
into this.
Yeah. So, can you recommend doing an exchange abroad to other people? And if so, what are maybe some tips you could give them when they want to go abroad and have an exchange year
For
or
learning a
something like
language,
that?
or for
Yes, for learning a language.
oh, okay, yeah. Well, there's nothing you can do at home which will get you to this type of exposure. So if you want to which is I knew 100% I was going to go to a Spanish-speaking country when I started university for my exchange, because it's just such a unique opportunity to go live in a completely different culture with a completely different language. Even besides the whole progression part, even besides the whole this is good for my Spanish level, it's for me it's such a unique experience, and I'm so grateful for being here and being able to be really thrown into this culture, which I should have never like been thrown here. Like, I should never be in Argentina. It's so far from Europe. It's so far from everything. It's like I didn't know a single person from Argentina like in my family that ever been here or nothing, stuff like this. So it's really like I'm really in this far place, and I just have a really cool experience. And so yeah, I definitely recommend it if you like new experiences and if you like exposing yourself, do it. And then especially if you want to improve in Spanish, it's just like, yeah, there's no way that you're gonna move to a place for 6 months and you're not gonna get way better. It's just like you'd really have to like try. You'd really have to like stay in your room and maybe like watch Netflix all. Like, you really have to try. And then if you really try to get better at the language, you can take it as far as you want. Because really, at home, it's really hard to get the exposure hours you're getting here. If I want to here, I can get 14 hours of Spanish exposure. And I don't like now. I'm saying this, but in the time, I don't even think about it because I'm just with my friends speaking Spanish. You know what I mean? So it's really nothing like it. And like 1 week, my first week, I did 60, 70 hours. Like before, I'd maybe take 2 months to achieve this same amount of input. So you can just improve. It's so accelerated your progress when you're in a Spanish-speaking country. And it makes it super cool. It makes it really cool. Because now the faster the progress is, the cooler it is.
And what are some tips maybe that people should consider when they go abroad to learn a language?
For exchange, try to, like, I would say if you want to arrive, I mean, you can go look at my video. I made a video in the airport. It's a really shit video because the audio is like distorted by a bunch of airport announcements. But you can see my level. It wasn't that high. It wasn't that high. I think a lot of universities require a B2 certificate, which is, like, insanely high. Like, I don't think I can get a B2 certificate right now. but also it seems a bit unnecessary. Like I would say, like trust yourself, um, and try to arrive with the best Spanish you can possibly arrive, but also take it easy. Don't think that you need to speak fluently to or speak at a B2 level to arrive here. If you can understand a YouTube video in Spanish, I would say it's enough to understand. And I would say if you are gonna do this comprehensible input, which if you want to do it, do it. You know you get ready for the language if you can watch a YouTuber from that country just speaking normally about whatever, football, magazines, music. If you can understand that video, you're gonna understand people here. And yeah, it's gonna be take some time, maybe 2-3 weeks to adapt, but you're gonna get there. Like,
Yeah.
don't put too much stress on yourself thinking you have to be like really, really good. Because I remember I was telling that to my ex-girlfriend, like before coming out here, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make friends. I don't know. Like, it seems like also like a part of me is scared to go because I don't think I'm that good. And yeah, when I arrived, it was very obvious I wasn't that good. But
But it worked
after a week,
out
you
well.
just
Yeah.
adapt. You got to trust that you will adapt, and you will. But I would say the one thing I would change the most is I would watch a lot more Argentinian YouTubers before coming here. Like I would almost I'd probably recommend almost exclusively watching the target accent
Yeah.
that you're going to, like maybe a month before. I don't know, because it just makes a lot more sense. Like you should like I don't know why I didn't do it.
And how long will you be in Argentina now?
I will stay till December, like mid-December. My school in Amsterdam starts in February, so
Okay.
I'm lucky enough. I will have like a month of travel time, where I will go to. I think I'll probably go to Rio in Brazil for 1 month and
Cool,
travel
cool.
around there. But yeah,
Yeah.
really cool. I'm really excited.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Bob. And
Yeah,
maybe
yeah. It was,
we can also talk a little bit about setting up another YouTube channel.
man, the whole time we talked about myself, and also I really am interested in you and your journey with. Yeah, I'm sure you speak a bunch of languages, so. This time we talked about myself. Maybe we can do another podcast where we talk about you, and also with this idea that you shared with me, this Italian YouTube channel. I think very shortly I would say just start it. Like the fuck, like just do it. Like why not? Like I was like the earlier you start, the cooler it will be. Because even if you have to make a 10-minute YouTube video where you are just like looking up every single word you want to say, that to me that's the coolest video out there. That if you have a video right now of you trying to look up, okay, how do I say I was born in Switzerland? And literally just repeating what you read to the camera and putting it there, and then 1 year later you make another video and you just like compare. It's just like, to me that's the coolest thing there is, the process and the progress, and it's the coolest thing to document for me. And I'm jealous that you're able to do it now with Italian. Because I wish I was able to do that. I wish I had a video of me when I was 18 trying to speak Spanish. I would pay so much money to see a video of me trying to speak Spanish when I was so bad.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, I will start it. The thing that is holding me back is the fear of making mistakes, because of course I am making mistakes, and then when I record myself I think nobody's gonna watch, but it's ridiculous because I did the same with English and it worked out in the end, but it's just I don't know why it's hard in the beginning, maybe because I don't know why, but it's just so hard to do it.
It's because like confidence comes from competence, and yeah, you're not competent in Italian. It's just a fact. Like you're not good at Italian, so you're not confident. But I think with this language learning community, it's so cool that everyone's like, we're all in the same boat. We all came from being shit, and we all are trying to get good. And I really like that. And also, I would say to you or to anyone, like, you don't have to put it on YouTube. You can also just record the videos and not show anyone ever. Just show yourself in 6 months. Like you can really just make all these videos private, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
later you can make them public. But for me, like when I say that I want to see a video of me when I was 18 speaking Spanish, it's not for anyone. I just want to see it like for myself. How like like I think the videos on YouTube, it's just a place I put them to receive feedback. But it's really, really for yourself, and you can do it at home as well. Like if you guys don't want to make a YouTube channel, just record yourself speaking Spanish now, and record yourself speaking Spanish or whatever language in 3 months, and be proud of yourself.
Yeah, because you can see the progress that you are making. And also, it's very valuable to use technology. You can, for example, you can record yourself in Italian or in Spanish, and then
Yeah.
different apps will show you the transcript. And then you will also see the mistakes that you're making. And then you can put the text in another app, and then you can get corrections, and then you can re-record it. And so you will automatically become better, and you will improving. So there is so much that is going to help you to improve in
Yeah,
your
I didn't
language.
even know about that.
Mm.
That's really cool.
So in your case, when you recorded yourself, did you wrote down some points beforehand, or what was the process? Do you just record and then whatever comes to mind you
No, I
speak?
usually have like
Or
an idea that I want to say, but I actually included this in one of my other videos. When I'm recording myself now in Spanish, I try my best not to re-record. I actually never re-record because I want it to be an honest reflection of my current ability to express myself. So if I re-recorded, it wouldn't be an honest reflection because um, when I'm speaking in real life, I'm not thinking all the time like 10 times about this sentence. I'm just saying it. So I don't have a script or anything. I just like kind of have an idea of what I want to say and just like freestyle. Like it's yeah. And I think actually I should have done that in the beginning. Like I think I made a few videos like 8 months ago, but some of them are stories and some of them are stuff like this. I actually have a cool video I think with making pasta pesto. I made it with my friend, and this one is cool because you see like I have to think like fast in Spanish, and you can see how shit I am. Like I can forget about stupid words. But if you have like a story that you say, like you kind of already know what you want to say, so it's not a true reflection. So I probably should have made more videos where I just like have really random things I have to react to. Like you can almost make it a game. Like you can
yeah,
have eight. Like you can ask ChatGPT to make you 8 random
R-
questions and then
yeah,
respond
yeah.
to them. And then you don't know what to expect, so you have to think right away. You know. So I think I probably should have done that in the beginning a bit better. But you should do that with Italian,
That would
and maybe
be
I'll do it with my
that
next
would be
language.
so funny, like a project and maybe a couple of people doing the same and then recording, and
Yeah.
then after a year
Yeah.
comparing how people could progress. That would be so awesome. And maybe
Yeah.
it's that what you're saying, maybe not overthinking stuff and just doing recording, and then automatically in a year or so, yeah, it will be amazing.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
it's one of the things I will say. That's the thing about learning languages. Like, just don't overthink it. Just do what you want to do.
yeah.
If you're gonna overthink it in your target language. So if you want to learn Spanish and you want to figure out how to learn Spanish, watch Spanish videos where they tell you how to learn Spanish. Don't watch an
Yeah.
English guy explaining you how to learn English. Or an English guy explaining in English how you should learn Spanish. At least get some input in Spanish while you're receiving all these tips that's going to help you learn the language. Like, you don't need all these tips. You just need to do what you want to do in the language. I signed up for, I don't have too much time yet left because I have to go, but I'll say
Yeah.
I signed up for this language course in my university for Spanish in April. And oh my God, I left the class after 30 minutes because it was
Why?
so bad. Because in 30 minutes times, in 30 minutes, this teacher who was this Dutch guy, and I speak Dutch, so it's fine. This Dutch guy explaining stuff about Spanish and yeah, what we're gonna do today, all in Dutch. So I was just receiving 30 minutes of Dutch input,
Yeah.
for no, like
It's
for maybe 2-3 minutes of Spanish input. I was like, I'm gonna just go home and watch a 10-minute video in Spanish, and it's gonna be way better than this class. So I went up to him, like he gave us like this task to do, and so I went up to him and I asked him, is this how it's gonna like always be? Is it always gonna be like the class will be taught in Dutch, and we'll have some small exercises in Spanish? And he said, yeah. And then I asked him, like, even the next class, because there's a higher level class as well. And he said, yeah, that's just how we teach it. And that's how schools teach it, which is why it's so shit. It's just not good.
yeah.
Like, you don't, like, it's all about input time. And at some
And
point,
it's
you just have to get it.
we are living in a great time because we can decide what we want to learn. We have the internet, and compared to 30 years ago or so, or 20 years ago, we are living in paradise.
Yeah. I mean, imagine, like, 20 years ago, if you want to receive input, like, input of for maybe Spanish would be easier, but imagine Korean. Like imagine someone in Europe trying to study Korean. Like you really can't watch video. Like you'd have to use these textbooks. You really can't go on YouTube and find some Korean guy who's explaining just about his life in Korean and at a slow pace, made for you to understand. So it's really really cool, and I really really like not just language learning, but how learning is evolving all around life.
Yeah.
Around all aspects, from electrician to computer science to Spanish. Like it's getting really really cool.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I want to contribute to that as well, which is why I'm also doing the Spanish videos on YouTube. I want to somehow, I don't know how, but I want to be part of the language learning process. Because I think I really really like it. I really really like it.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Bob. And I look forward to watching more videos on your channel. And of course, I
Yeah,
will put the link in the show notes as well.
Yeah, how is it for you watching because your Spanish level? I want to do another video with you, maybe where we speak Spanish or something. I don't know, but your Spanish level on Charlie's podcast seemed quite well. Like it seemed quite good.
Well, I can understand a lot, but I cannot speak very well because I am not used to speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
But
yeah. No, I think it's really cool. No, I'm curious with my videos who's watching them, because is it like I'm curious how good your Spanish has to be to follow me.
I
also, I
could
think a lot of people
follow
who watch
100%.
Okay.
But
That's because your
to
Spanish
me
is
it's
really
clear.
good. But I wonder how, like, at what level can you start? So I wouldn't recommend subscribing to my channel too much. If like watch a video first to see if you can actually understand me. I would not just because yeah, I'm just speaking how I speak. So check out a video maybe, but
Sure. So
I'll keep getting better, and let's see where it goes. And I like these
Awesome.
projects that you have with Charlie, and I want to get into some more projects because that's something I'm scared of. Like right now, I'm enjoying Spanish so much, and I'm speaking so much Spanish. But when I go back to Amsterdam, it's going to be so much harder for me to find the people and the time to speak Spanish. So it'd be cool to start like a podcast or a project or something which allows me to practice and talk to Spanish people more often. So I'm figuring that out. I'm trying to think of some ideas, and I'll think about it after my exchange, because for now I'm just, yeah, I have enough practice for sure.
If you have any questions, make sure that you write a comment below the video, and this will also help the channel to grow. And if you have any suggestions for a future topic, or even if you discovered a great channel which is related to language learning, you can write a comment, and then I will try to get the person onto the podcast. Thank you so much, and bye.